repurposed it in his brain, and because of the culture of the company and the man I'm about to introduce you to, he thought, I'll bring that message to my boss. Boss brings that message to someone else, gets that message to Bobby Allen, gets that message to me. You're probably going to tell that story. So, Evan, come on up. So, because of this outside of the box thinking, we've brought the product here for you to go poke around in, preferably not with a knife, and we're going to tell you why we think it's a good idea. Evan?
Okay.
Have that.
Hey, Jim.
My pleasure.
Well, I'm Evan Green, as Jim, he told a little bit of the story there already. So I'm Evan Green. I've been in motion picture lighting business for 30 years, started Pascal 30 years ago. And about 5 years ago, sold to PRG. A lot of you are familiar with PRG. So we're part of that whole organization now. So as everybody here, you know, was shocked with the Las Vegas thing. I've had nieces that weren't there, but they had debated whether or not going. So, of course, we're all in shock. So come Monday morning, I go into Pascal, and one of my managers comes up to me. His name's John Smith. That's not an alias. It really is his name. And he said, what do you think about the Airwall? What do you think that could have done something for this event? And it just, that was it. A light bulb started going, and since then, you know, I've been thinking about it and putting things together and, you know, seeing what could be done. And then I was actually trying to say, well, who do I go to? I mean, I'm a motion picture guy for all these years, and again, PRG deals with a lot of events. I talked to some of them, and I got with Bobby Allen, who stepped up, and he said, that's a great idea. And then I think after I talked to him, I think the next day he actually was out at the Greek Theater doing some event, and then he was, I think, with a promoter, and there was a hillside that looks down on the event, and he started talking to the promoter. Yeah, we're talking about this Airwall that would block the line of sight. The guy's like, wow, that's a great idea. You know, it was too late to do something about it. So from there, I had Bobby come over to Pascal Lighting, where we had one set up in the back for demos. He saw it, and he said, hey, Jim Digby's coming into town. I'm gonna have him come by the next day. Jim shows up, looks at it, and says, this is a great idea, and can you have it at my event? I'm like, where? And Pennsylvania. Okay, well, so we had some in Atlanta, and we put it on a flatbed, and Bob and Adam from Pascal came out here and set it up. So you wonder, you know, the Airwall, it's a green screen. It's been used, it's a new product that's over the last few years used for large green screens, usually a year or so ago, for the motion picture business, but it's a 1-minute video. I think if you look at it, you'll see a little bit of the capabilities, and I can talk a little more about it. So I'm gonna play the video now. So it gives you a little glimpse at what it is, and just to give you an idea of what we're thinking about is generally it sits on a sea container, like 2 sea containers, which would give you 16 feet. The Airwall itself is a tray, and you know, later on you can certainly look at the tray. Right now it's sitting on just a flatbed trailer, but when it sits on top of 2 sea containers, it can go 40 feet. It's a pretty standard one. You would put weight in the bottom for outdoor use. We didn't do any weight here because there's no wind or anything to worry about. And the reason we came here and why Jim wanted me to is it was just a thought and an idea, and with all these brilliant minds in here, I wanted to throw it out to you guys to see, does this work? How can this play? You know, the way it's been done is you drop sea containers, you put the trays. They built for Star Wars, they had 1,500 feet of it. It could be, you know, each unit is 40 feet wide, so any configuration, creating corners to block line of sight. If you had the sea containers, 2 sea containers, you know, you had 16 feet of real cover from bullets. And it's crazy that I have to even sit here talking about it. What a, you know, crazy world, but we can't hide our head in the sand, and we're talking about it. So the sea containers do actual full cover. I even talked to the manufacturer of this, who I'm partners with, Air Cover in Canada. The balloon material could be made of Kevlar, crazy as it sounds. So the whole point is to bring it out to you guys to see, what do you think? How does it work? Oh, and my guys who have brought it here, again, we hadn't done this on a flatbed, but they had come up with an easier way to do this. So something we're looking at, it's not done yet, is to mount a sea container on a flatbed with the Airwall on top and have water ballast on the inside. So, you know, making it quicker, more portable. So if it can go to a venue, you could just pull them up, drop them, and it's a quicker thing. And you saw, well, that was a time lapse on the inflation, but it's about 15 minutes, a few fans. That's being held up by one small little fan. The other kicker to it is, you know, there's always a cost, and the other thing is it's a great avenue for advertising to defray some of the costs. You could project on it, you could have sponsors create material to put on it. So that's pretty much what it's all about.
Thanks, Evan. So quickly, I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, they just shoot the balloon down. But when you take the 6-inch valve covers off in the back, it still takes about 10 minutes for that thing to come down. So with a handful of bullet holes in it, it's not going anywhere, even if that fan's still running. And as Evan said, it can be made out of Kevlar. So this is an example of, first of all, the kind of mindset that we share in this room. What can we do that innovates for safety? Can we improve our circumstance? And for me, it's an example of foreseeability. If I answered my own question, because I can do so frankly, I'm not a lawyer, if I'm putting up a festival site and I know I've got 1 high-rise or 10, and I know where they are because I've done a proper site survey, and I know because of reasonable foreseeability that sadly it's a concern, and I had the resource, I could park these things between me and that high-rise and have taken some action that makes me pro-reasonable, more than reasonable. I've put up a barrier, and that's probably easier than shutting down the hotel or whatever the other circumstances might be. But this is the kind of thinking that you all are doing as well. How can we make the circumstances better? Advertising around a festival site on the inside of the festival wall is probably a big dollar maker. Thanks. Any questions? We got time for 2 quick ones, and then we got to get into content.
Hey, and before I forget, if anyone wants, you know, the video or any information, you could just email me. My name's Evan Green, so it's just eg@pascal.com, and Pascal.
And he'll be here.
And I'm here for a couple days, but just eg@pascal.com, and that's that.
Let me get it. Thanks, Evan.
It's gonna take me out.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good.
Thank you.
No questions about that thing? Okay, good. Let's get on with the program. Don, are you gonna do an intro?
Yeah, another friend of ours with outstanding credentials